Welcome into Paul Catalina's Top 5, Top 25 defenses, wrapping it up today. Of course, brought to you by Texas Beef House. Go to texasbeefhouse.com, use promo code 365sports. You'll save 10% off of your order. Let's dive in right away. I'm sure you're anxious to see who it is. Dan Lanning in Oregon at number 5. This team will be maybe slanting more towards the offensive side, but they're not going to give up a lot of points either. Don't forget, their coach is one of the best young defensive minds in the country and helped build Georgia into a national champion as well. He has got Oregon as fired up as they've been in a long time, and this is a team that's really scary. Look, EA Sports College Football thinks this is the best team in the country. They're the hardest team to beat in the game. Now, does that mean anything? No, but clearly when they started ranking players, like, the Ducks are going to be salty this year, and I think that on both sides of the ball. And we'll talk about their offense next week. Number 4, Georgia. These, 3, 4, 5 are kind of interchangeable, so don't maybe get hung up on the number because it's so close. But while Dan Lanning did help build that defense, the student has yet to become the teacher. Kirby Smart, Glenn Schumann are going to have a great defense for the Bulldogs this year. They don't really lose people there as much as this guy disappears and then another one pops up in his place in those spots at Georgia. They're still going to have that attitude. Remember, Kirby Smart was the guy who helped Nick Saban build his dynasty. He's now built his own one. Glenn Schumann, the new defensive coordinator, his second year as defensive coordinator since Dan Lanning went to Oregon, has kept them pretty much at the spot that they were before. They haven't dropped off anymore, and the only reason they're not number 1 is the 3 teams ahead of them are just really, really good and veteran-laden defenses. Number 3, Clemson. This is how Clemson can win the ACC this year. It's probably not going to be on offense. They've got too many holes there. But defensively, outside of losing Jeremiah Trotter and Andrew Makuba, they're pretty much everybody back from last year, a team that's very veteran-laden. Dabo Sweeney and his staff have always had great defenses. They may not have as many, first-round defensive line talents that they've had in the past, but they probably have the best linebacker in the country in Barrett Carter. They've got some defensive backs that will just put their shoulder into the middle of their chest and knock you back, and they're always going to get after the passer, even if they don't have the Dexter Lawrences of the world anymore, at least not this season at Clemson, or at least not that we know. And there's usually somebody coming out of the woodwork for Dabo and the Tigers on that side of the ball. And if you want to know why they can win the ACC, it's because they're not going to give up a lot of points. Barrett Carter, in my opinion, top 3 defensive player in the country. That's how good he is. Linebacker, sideline to sideline, can get involved in the passing game, can rush the passer. Unbelievable. When you have a plus player like that, that is something that makes defense so much better. Number 2, Ohio State. They would have probably been number 4 if they didn't add Caleb Downs. But they've got Jack Sawyer coming back. They've got most of their defensive line back, most of their defensive backs back, almost everybody from a really good defense from a year ago. And then you add Caleb Downs, the best freshman defensive player in the country from a year ago. Jim Knowles has tons of toys to play with. He's going to have a great time getting after folks on a schedule this year for Ohio State that is kind of like Michigan's schedule last year, where you have a few tough teams, but they don't really get at you until the end of the season. So you're going to have that defense have time to build up some momentum and confidence. And even in games where you think they'll give up more points, they don't, because they just haven't. And now they believe in themselves, and that's what makes them really scary. Again, I will tell you this. Ryan Day has no excuse not to be in the playoff, not to win the Big Ten this year. His team is loaded. Will Howard is maybe the least talented player on that whole team, and Will Howard has talent. I'm not knocking Will Howard. I'm just saying that he is stepping into an arena with a bunch of dudes, and the defense should put them in pretty good position to score points all year long. And number 1, Michigan. Yes, Sharon Moore is crying in this clip because I'm sure that the last couple of days have been stressful, to say the least, for the new Michigan head coach. But they return a ton of guys on defense. They maybe lose some of their swagger, but this is a defensive line that's probably still the deepest in the country, a linebacking core that's the deepest in the country. They do lose Mike Sandersill in the secondary, who was the heart and soul of their defense, but they'll have it. They'll have the attitude. They'll have the things that they need. Michigan, much like Clemson, you're not going to be fascinated by their offense more than likely this year, but their defense is going to frustrate everybody, and they'll figure out ways to win games. That's it for the top 25 defenses. I'm Paul Catalina. Smokey joins me in a second as we wrap it up. Hope you enjoyed it.